Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on fighting fire with fire. I'm not actually promoting it. This video is to warn people not to do it because, in my honest opinion, it doesn't work. And from some of the videos that I've seen on YouTube of child custody hearings where it appears that there is a personality disordered abuser or an obsessive alienator, it seems to me that over and over again, I got this vibe that they didn't really care to make themselves look like such a good parent or such a good alternative for the kids, as much as they focus on showing the judge how much worse the other person was. It's as though it was a common theme across all of them that they never really argued that they were better because they were great in some way. They argued that they were better because the other person was so much worse. And a lot of these videos revolved around them trying to justify their egregious conduct, their abuse and neglect, by basically pointing the finger at the other person and saying, yeah, I did that, but they made me do it. Or, yeah, I did that, but they do it too. Or, yeah, I did that, but they are worse because. Um, and I've seen it enough times, and in my personal case, I very much got that vibe from my ex. She wasn't trying to be better than me. She was just trying to pull me down to her level so that she could say, he does all of these things too. He is just as bad. No, he's worse. And here's why. I got that vibe the whole time through all 8 years of my child custody litigation. From a handful of other people that I've talked to that have won their cases, they told me the same thing, and that they got tripped up in the beginning by, basically having this attitude of, oh, if you're going to do these things to me, I'm going to do them right back to you. And it really backfires and it stains your reputation because in the first hearing or two, your ex is going to spend a lot of time saying, sure, I did all those things, but they did it too. And they did it worse. And they're a worse parent. I'm not that bad compared to them. It's all about comparing you. I think I got the point across in this video. It's really important for people who are coming here to try to figure out how to get through a high conflict child custody case that they do not fight fire with fire. That you're actually playing right into their hands. I've not seen that actually be the cleanest way to come out on top in these cases. The best thing you can do is fight fire with water. You disarm their tactics. Be the better person, not just by saying it to yourself or making yourself feel better, but by actually taking steps that, number one, do not hurt the kids, and number two, demonstrate you to be a better person because you're taking active steps that elevate your status as a parent. So I really don't have a lot of specifics in this video because it's not telling you so much what you need to do as it's telling you what you need to not do. So if your ex is calling you names, don't call them names back. If you're I get the urge, but when you're in a high conflict child custody case, within the first year or two, you need to be to the point where it doesn't really matter that you feel better, fighting back. It matters more that your kids feel better because you're actually winning custody issues. It sounds bad to say that, but in high conflict child custody cases, that's the only way that you can get anything good for your kids. How did I get my kid in a better school? I had to fight it in court. How did I make sure that the child support didn't cripple me? In fact, later on, I ended up getting child support awards. I had to fight it in court. She wasn't going to be nice. How did I get him out of a situation where his teeth were rotting so bad that he had 5 crowns and 2 extractions? Did my ex just allow that? No, I had to fight it in court. And so if you already know you're going to have to fight it in court over and over and over and over again, you're going to have to shift your priorities from feeling good about fighting back, calling them a name, sending them a nasty email, how dare them, showing why you're smarter or better or correct and why they're wrong or illogical or inane or stupid. Instead of doing all of those things, which will give you instant gratification inside of yourself for a little while until it gets brought up and used against you in court, you can focus on, you know what, I'm going to end up in court another 5 or 6 times. that is the bigger picture. That is the long game. That is the way I'm going to get what's best for my kids. So I'm not going to call them names back. I'm not going to participate in this stupid argument. They took the kids from me last Christmas. I'm not going to take the kids from them this Christmas. That's what they want you to do. They want you to be just as bad as they are or worse. So don't give them what they want. I really think that people might have a lot of stories regarding this, what I've talked about in this video. So it would be nice to see some comments if anyone wants to bring up specifics as to how they overcame the conflict by basically just no longer fighting fire with fire. Or maybe somebody here didn't even start out that way. I'm sure that person probably got a lot further off in the beginning than I did, because when I got into my child custody case, I was a lot younger and a lot more prone to emotion, and those first couple of years I was fighting fire with fire and I got nowhere. I mean, it makes you look bad, and it takes forever to change your reputation. And it gets brought up and used against you years later. You may have grown and matured and not called your ex a name in 3 years, and then you file for something in court and they bring up what you called them 3 years ago. It happens. It sticks to you. And I mentioned in a previous video, I think it's the video How Abusers Win, that they don't really need to show the court that you're doing something all the time. They just need to show the court 1 or 2 examples. And then they can sort of convince the judge that, yeah, you're doing this all the time because you've seen 1 or 2 examples. And it's just, the last thing you want to do is give your opponent these weapons to use against you. I think I've actually talked to people about this before when they've asked me, what was your secret to winning your motion to modify physical custody? And I think I've given a bunch of different answers, but one of the common ones that comes to mind is I really gave her nothing. She had nothing that she could use against me. She had nothing that she could point out that I did that was negative or bad. Her entire case was focused on all of these tiny little nitpicky issues. Now I remember. I brought it up in They Will Never Say Good Things. Check out that video if you haven't seen it. It's titled They Will Never Say Good Things, where I explained that at some point you're going to get so good at just staying out of the crap and not countering and calling the name calling, the pointless arguing and all that, that your opponent isn't going to have anything really useful to use against you in court. So they're not going to fall back on saying, hey, he's a great parent. They don't do that. They're going to fall back on nitpicking these really small little things that really look stupid, that the judge will hopefully call out or keep in the back of their mind that all of the complaints they have against you are just inane. And anyway, watch that video if you want to see exactly what I was talking about there. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have a story that kind of follows the theme of not fighting fire with fire and how it benefited you in court, please post it in the comments below. And hopefully we'll have some enlightening stories for some of the viewers. With that, I will see you guys next time.